Hello and welcome to Hellbent Holler Live. It's been a minute.
A hot minute.
Yeah, my name is Jesse. This is Joe, and it looks a little different from it did last time because we made a big move. Let us know how our audio is and how our video is in the chat, and we will get started with the show. So let us know how all this looks and sounds, and we'll get a rolling.
All the usual suspects are in the chat.
Yes.
Glad to see you guys. William Kennedy says we are loud and clear.
Loud and clear. Wonderful. So. Wonderful. We actually have better internet here. As many of you know, at our previous residence, we had the worst internet in the world, and it would cut out constantly or lag or slow down. So we have everything sounds better and we don't have a lag. But one good thing is if it does start doing that, we always have the option to boost our internet plan. So we will go from there. It has been so crazy not doing the show for as long as we did not do the show. Something that we were doing every Monday, like clockwork, getting together with you guys and hanging out and talking cryptids, talking ghosts, talking UAPs, conspiracies, all of that good stuff. It has been forever, and I feel like I missed you guys so much.
On Monday nights, because what we would do is we would work our mundane jobs and then move in the off hours. And like usually on Mondays, I would like have this something like tickling in the back of my brain going, what did we forget? And I'm like, oh, that's right. We didn't live stream tonight.
It's live stream night.
Yeah. How quickly you kind of get used to it. So
yeah.
There's a bunch of usual suspects in the chat room. There's like 128 people here.
Oh, cool.
It's crazy. I didn't think we'd have anybody.
Yeah, we were like everybody forgot about us.
Yeah.
So
who are those guys? Bigfoot Society, how are you? 2.5 weeks until Monster Fest, y'all.
Yeah. We'll talk about Monster Fest. Let's get into that. So we will be at Monster Fest this year. It is the first year for Monster Fest. It might be the last year. I'm sure Seth is going crazy in the planning process of it. It's not easy to put on these conferences like this, and this is going to be a huge one. So it's going to be June 3rd. That's Saturday, June 3rd in Canton, Ohio at the DoubleTree. And that is Monster Fest. It is being put on by Small Town Monsters. So you're going to have a lot of the Small Town Monsters people there. We are one of the sponsors, so we will have a table there.
And we're not really selling anything or shilling anything or anything like that. We just wanted to go support because we're huge fans of Small Town Monsters.
Yeah, it was really important for us to put our money where our mouth is when it comes to supporting people in this field who really are doing something positive for the field.
Yeah.
There seems to be, and we've been out of the loop for a month and a half at this point, but it just seems like that there's always this controversy or this infighting or all this other stuff going on, and it's really not helping the field at all. So it's nice to see people like Small Town Monsters not getting involved in that kind of stuff and actually going out there and making really good documentaries and telling stories. So we really wanted to support that and be a part of the first Monster Fest. So you will see us at our table. And we're also going to have Dewey Edwards, the Deuster himself,
and Mr. Martin Groves
at our table with us. We're basically just going to hang out at the table. We don't really have anything to sell. We don't really peddle anything or anything like that. It's really just going to be us chilling at a table. So if you want to come and see us, you cannot miss us. I think we're going to be between the speakers hall and the vendors hall. So you'll have to walk past us to go to the vendors hall from the speakers hall. So we are really looking forward to that. I believe we'll be there Friday night at the premiere. I'm not sure. It depends on how quickly we get up there. We do live in the Southern Appalachian region, so it is a long drive for us to get there. But we will be there on Saturday all day with the Deuster and Martin Groves.
And what's funny is this is a Small Town Monsters crowd.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to know who the hell we are, but he's going to be there to see like Martin Groves.
It's going to be the Martin fan club.
If I don't get shoved out of the way at our table at one point, so somebody can like try to get Martin's autograph or something like that.
You're going to have to like check like IDs and stuff from the groupies coming up to the table.
Because that happens. that happens. That happened in West Virginia with Martin. It'll probably happen here.
Oh, poor
So,
Martin had to run away from that lady
Yeah,
several times.
yeah, we had yeah, won't get
We
into all
won't get
that.
into
So,
it.
but
Martin
any-
was like, "Well, I gotta go," and ran away.
yeah. So, like I said, this isn't a money making event for us. We're not vending. We're just there. We wanted to go up and support Seth and wanted to see the people that are in that region. So if you guys are in that area, come on down.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
a good time. Good
Yeah,
time.
come on out, hang out, and it's gonna be a blast. It's really gonna be a lot of fun. There's a lot of good speakers, so that's it's worth it. Just come and hang out, meet a bunch of cool people, and all the vendors are really amazing too. Every time we go to these things, I go there with a little wad to buy a bunch of original art because I love collecting weird and creepy art. So I will definitely be buying a few pieces while I'm there. But yes, I'm so excited. And what else do we have on the docket here coming up?
That's it coming up.
That's it for
we
now,
had to.
yeah.
We've been insanely out of the loop on stuff right now. We were actually talking about doing the show tonight. I'm going, what the hell are we going to talk about? I don't know what's going on right now. But again, because when I say out of the loop, I mean out of the loop. I don't know what's going on in the world of like cryptozoology or UFOs or the paranormal.
I'll tell you, they still have not found Bigfoot.
They still have not found Bigfoot.
So, people ask me that all the time. They find out what I do and they're like, "Oh,
you found him yet?
Have you found Bigfoot yet?" I'm like, "Oh, yep, that's why I'm here working this job, buddy. I found Bigfoot. Thanks." All right. Patty says, "Glad you're back." We are glad to be back, Patty. We are very glad to be back. So also we bought a house. We moved. That's where we've been the past month and a half as we've been moving. And it's a lot easier to move, I think, if you're a normal person.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to move as complete weirdos. So
there's like the load of furniture, then there's the load of like personal effects, and then there's the load where you're hoping that you don't get pulled over to explain why do you have all these guns, camera equipment, freeze-dried food, religious artifacts, and just like random skulls. So yeah.
But I do drive a Subaru, so it's not quite like supernatural. So it's not like I've got a muscle car driving around with all that. I am driving a Subaru.
Although what's funny is that I did like the gun run, right?
Yeah.
Transported all the firearms, dropped them off, and then Jessie looks at my tag and she goes, "Your tag's freaking expired." And I'm going, that would have been like a whole episode of Cops, like right there. You know what I'm saying? So
why do you have all this holy water and ammunition?
Yeah, why do you have these? Yeah, why do you have all these like ampoules of holy water and then like 10,000 rounds of 10 millimeter?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so Take Two Wheels wants to know, is the house haunted? No, man, it's weird. This is like we're in the historic district where we're.
Yeah, our house is over 100 years old. Yeah. It's a big old house. It's got like the original like floors and doors and everything. But we've been here for a month now.
And not a damn thing weird has happened in the slightest. And it's
we've been here exactly a month now, and we are really enjoying it. It's a historic house, but it's not haunted from what we can tell. So, but we haven't done any extra construction, so we haven't really stirred up the spirits yet. But maybe if we do a few renovations here and there, we'll stir something up,
So,
looking
to see what people are bringing up in the chat.
Joe, you're a cult leader for some reason. Did I miss something?
Where's that? Joe's a cult leader. Damn right. All right.
I
think I'd make a pretty good cult leader.
I think it's because you shaved your head and you're wearing like an all black shirt with a triangle on it. Yeah, Joe cut his hair off. It's been a while.
Shaved my hair off.
It's been a wild month.
Danny Kopak, what do you guys think about the new season of Skinwalker Ranch? We haven't seen a single bit of it. I actually, when we ran out of steam about a week ago or so, and we were getting a quick bite before we went to eat, like before we went to sleep, and I watched a couple of YouTube clips, and I saw where they were doing drone swarms. They picked up an anomaly that seems like it's in the air, and it changes. It goes from 300 feet to 5,000 feet.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
Yeah, and that it seems to be playing havoc with like the drones that they send through them, which, as you all know, have heard us talk about before, everybody's always like, get a drone. I've already lost like 2 drones. So I'm going to blame that Skinwalker Ranch phenomenon on the fact that I can't seem to keep a drone in the air.
Yeah, it's not from your lack of ability to fly.
It's not from my lack of ability to fly a drone, but I had a kite break as a kid. Seriously, I had a really cool kite as a kid, and the string broke. and watching that kite fly off instilled this weird sense of like
Loss.
anxiety in me. Yeah, no. So I get a drone up and I'm just like, I get too tense, man.
It's like the kid that throws his frisbee off the Grand Canyon.
That happened to me as well. My uncle threw my
What?
frisbee off the side of the Blue Ridge Parkway on an
What?
overlook. Yeah. So,
Do you see why Joe is the person he is today?
but anyway, so I haven't seen any of the real stuff on it. From what I hear, though, this season's taken third season, I guess. Is this the fourth season, fifth season? I don't know. Last season took a real serious look at it. They kind of put a lot of the reality TV show kind of tropes behind, and then I hear this season they're just hellbent on it. I mean, that they're just, taking a real serious look to it. I did get a chance to listen to a interview with Travis. What's his name? Travis. I want to say Travis Walton, but that's
not Travis.
I know it's not.
Are
Travis
you talking about Dr. Travis?
Dr. Travis, yeah.
The hillbilly rocket scientist.
Yeah. So I listened to an interview with him and
Travis
Taylor, and he is just. You can tell that this dude is no longer just a hired gun on a TV show. You can tell that his curiosity is just peaked, and he'll say that. He'll just go, listen, if the TV show cancels, I'm gonna figure out a way to keep looking into this. So,
well, it's pretty cool that he's also like, isn't he a consultant with the United States government
yeah,
concerning the UAP phenomenon?
He was the head scientist for the government's post like ATIP and OSAP, but the nascent group that they had, and then he was the head scientist for it. So, and he didn't even tell them supposedly until like third season of the show. He mentioned, hey, by the way, I've been working on the government looking into this exact same thing. So,
Pyromedic asks, will the house fit on a barge?
That was the thing that I was thinking about driving home today. I was going, man, I got to remember all the in jokes. We had the donkeys, the Hellbent helicopter. Barges.
That's the most important one.
Yeah. Was it like monkey pee?
Monkey pee. Gorilla piss.
Gorilla piss. Yeah, that's right. So
dogman nipples.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we have not seen it, but it sounds like they have. I don't think that. I don't know. People keep going. If this was like a real weird type of area, like Area 51. Skinwalker Ranch, they wouldn't have like a reality show about it. And I'm kind of going, yeah, they would if they wanted to try.
Oh, absolutely. You'd be crazy not to if you've got permission to do so.
Yeah, if you wanted to try to expose the public to it and reach as wide an audience as possible. You do a reality show on it. So, and it's almost like they would sucker you in like with the typical reality show formula. And then once they got everybody into it, then they'd switch gears, which sounds kind of like what they're doing right now. So,
Martin Groves says Gabby and War Criminal had contact with the LBL Beast. They saw the Beastie Boy live. So we were headed somewhere, and Joe called.
I got a text from Barton Nunley.
You got a text from Barton. We were actually headed out to go out in the woods for a bit.
Yeah.
You got a text from Barton Nunley, and you called Barton Nunley, and he filled you in on everything. And I could just hear him over I'm driving, and I could just hear him over the phone, and then I hear Letitia come in and everything. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I think that Elijah did an interview with Gabby about what she saw over on their channel, Cryptid Studies Institute. So after the show tonight, if you have not seen that interview, go check that out.
After the show, though.
Yeah.
Wait till the end of the show.
Wait till the end of the show.
But they had a sighting of what they believed to be a dog man that was spider crawling.
Yeah.
They were with, I was getting ready to say they were with somebody else, but Martin already spilled the beans. They were with War Criminal, who's in our chat right now. And Elijah didn't see it because he was looking in the wrong direction. But
always a bridesmaid, never a bride.
Yeah. So it's weird because it seems like Skinwalker Ranch is ramping up. The LBL is ramping up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming from the amount of emails that we still have to wade through that there's other places that are ramping up right now.
You guys, a lot of people did not drop off on the emails. We're getting through a lot of our messages right now as quickly as we can. I've got a lot of messages on various social medias right now concerning what's going on, people's sightings, what they're going through right now, and kind of updating us on that. We're about to start working on a really big project. And but we are going to get through those emails and get back to you guys as quickly as we can.
Paul M., I do think it's a form of self-disclosure. My opinion, and that's just my opinion, because I've heard all of the ideas of like, oh, the government would never let it out. This is just misdirection. And it might very well be. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that if the phenomenon was starting to get to the point where you couldn't cover it up anymore, that the government would try to get ahead of that, to try to maintain some sort of control, as much control as they possibly could. So it's always in the back of my mind that they're releasing this so that if something happens that's just undeniable, and I'm not talking about like a TikTok video, I'm not talking about, somebody films something on their phone and it ends up on YouTube and it looks good. I'm talking about like another Phoenix Lights type incident that happens, but now you've got people recording with like the latest iPhones and everything like that. So it's just undeniable. I think they want to get to the point where they can at least present themselves as being a little bit more in control, or a lot more in control than they actually are. At least this way, if something happens that's incontrovertible, they can go, yeah, we've been working on it. We released this to you guys, the TikTok video, blah, blah, blah. I just don't think they want to be like that. Remember that spokesman for Saddam Hussein in Baghdad when the Iraqi war was going on, and he was going, everything's under control. There's nothing to see here. And there's like buildings and crap blowing up in the background of the.
That's forever a meme.
Yeah, so I don't think they want to be like that. So I do think that it's a very good possibility that a lot of this that's going on right now is a form of controlled, slow disclosure, so that they can try to get ahead of something that they've tried to cover up. They can't cover up anymore, and now they're just trying to do proactive damage control, I think.
My concern with some of that is, especially right now with the rise of AI and the exponential evolution of AI and deep fakes, that somebody could look at something that would be considered like perfect evidence, 5 years ago or even 2 years ago.
Mhm.
And now these videos can be faked in
Oh, yeah.
such a way
You're not
that
gonna be
you
able
don't know the difference between what is real and what is fake. So it doesn't matter if everybody has a phone in their pocket and you have a mass event that
Well.
everybody seems to record.
Well,
It could be easily fake.
Well, I challenge that notion. And
Okay.
here's why.
Yeah.
Because right now, a single person going, look at this dog man I filmed, and you look at it, and it's AI. It's really good AI.
Right.
But you can kind of tell it's AI.
Yeah. It's still that kind
We're
of
like a
uncanny
year
valley.
away, and probably even less than that, from you would look at it and just go, that damn thing looks real. You know what I'm saying? It looks like a living, breathing creature. So I think that singular one-off events like that, we're on the cusp of nobody ever believing any individual photo they ever see.
Right.
A Phoenix Light incident, though,
where you have massive,
where you have hundreds or maybe even thousands of the same thing going on from different points of view, I think that would be a little difficult for thousands of people to have their own AI generated. Maybe that's possible down the road, but I think that the days of us critiquing and looking over stuff on YouTube and images on Facebook groups and on Reddit and stuff like that and going, is that real? Those debates are about to become meaningless because you're not going to be able to tell the difference.
Right. Right. Unless you have like a massive coordinated hoax. And I know people have accused people of committing massive coordinated hoax in the past, but right now and then going forward with social media, with TikTok and everything like that, it'd be a lot easier to coordinate something like that than ever before.
That's why it's going to be more important than ever that people get out and look for themselves.
Yeah.
That now we're going to enter into, if you sit around and you just watch YouTube videos and you look at images on Facebook, I don't think you could. Right now, there's a certain level of value that's in people who collect stories, collect anecdotal stories, and you look for patterns in there. Although I was thinking the other day that even those patterns that you see in first-person accounts, I don't know how trustworthy they are anymore because of the whole Me Too factor. You know, somebody here, I always, and I'm going to mention this about the spider crawl thing. They saw that spider crawling dog man. You never used to hear about that. And then it just kind of took off in the Bigfoot world, you know?
It really took off in the Bigfoot world. Wasn't Wes Germer's encounter a spider? I think that was one of the first times I ever heard a description like that.
So what I wondered.
And then now you hear it a lot.
So what I always wondered is is it something that maybe other people had witnessed, but it sounded like a hill too far as crazy goes? So
Yeah.
they left that out, but then now they feel more comfortable to talk about it. Is it a new behavior that's starting to be exhibited? Or are there some real stories, but then people who were kind of, let's just making stuff up, embellish with that? You know what I'm saying? That's why I thought it was so cool when Gabby and War Criminal saw it, because these are people that we know
Right.
that are trustworthy.
Yeah, that's
You know
a firsthand, like straight account. That's not, you know, this anonymous person has given this account to somebody else.
Because if you watch Gabby's like interview, you know, where she talks about it,
yeah,
she saw it. You know what I'm saying? She saw it. That's all there is to it. She saw it. She's an impeccable witness. And that spider crawling thing always just kind of weirded me out. So it's good to have a first
very
person,
unsettling, because it makes physically no sense why it should be doing it.
Yeah, a first person like account of somebody that we know who's an impeccable witness.
Yeah.
So my thing is that now I think it's getting to the point where if you have an interest in this, in order to experience the phenomenon, you know, in order to be involved with it, you're not gonna be able to trust anything you see online.
Yeah.
You know, you're not. I'm sure that anything that we happen to capture in the woods going forward, we're just months, if not a year, away from everybody going, "Oh, that's just AI." Not everybody, but certain people going, "Oh, that's just AI."
I also think that's very important, that if you do this kind of work and you do this kind of research, that you have got to be above board about what you're doing and what you're getting and and you have to be able to admit, you know, that you're not an expert on everything. You have to be able to admit that, because if you're constantly BSing, then you can't build that trust with people. And as more and more of these hoaxes come out, because they're easier to create, then your credibility, which is already teetering on the edge, is completely gone.
Well, what I thought of is that AI works best with like still images right now, but you're already starting to see the moving picture versions of it.
And it's evolving at, like I said, at an exponential
So
rate.
what we're going to have to do for our field work is, if we see something and we're trying to film it, one of us is going to have to try to get into the frame somehow. You know what I'm saying? That would be more difficult to fake, at least as of right now. So if we see a weird light, we're going to have to angle the camera so that like I'm in it and then the weird light's over my shoulder.
Also, we need to start, I guess, both of us having cameras.
Yeah.
Especially
two different angles.
Different angles of the same phenomenon. You know, it's a lot easier for us to carry just one, because we need to be able to access our firearms while we're out in the woods. So it's easier for us to have one camera and hand it off to one another.
Or if we got to move like a tree branch
or if we got to move around, but we might have to start carrying multiple cameras. That way we have multiple angles of the same event if it occurs.
The other thing I thought of too is that we need to have cross instrumentation type stuff going on, like we did with that weird light we saw in Georgia.
Yeah.
We had full spectrum camera and thermal going.
Yeah.
So I think that that's what you're going to need to get into, because quite honestly, still images and very short video clips are not going to be trustworthy.
Not anymore. Not going forward. No, absolutely not. Bob Olson, I'm way back in the chat.
We're all real way back.
We've been just rambling at each other.
Baghdad Bob was who that was.
Baghdad Bob. Yeah. Go on.
Oh.
I love that meme there. Bob Olson says, when is y'all's next outdoor investigation, or continuing on the last investigation? So I do have the video that continues the black circle. It is the conclusion to that particular investigation. I do have that video in the works. I'll be releasing that along with our Brown Mountain Lights footage, along with a few short videos from our trip to the LBL, where we met up with Barton Nunley, Martin Groves, and the Dooster. I'll have a few short videos out of that trip. That was the last thing we did before we took our hiatus.
Yeah.
But I'll have stuff from that going out. But we do have a new project coming up that I can't really talk about right now, because it's something that I have not really seen anybody else talk about or do any sort of investigation into. So we do have a big project coming up that is super duper top secret right now, but you guys are going to really find it interesting and exciting. So we're going to actually start the preliminary work on that this coming week. So I've got videos coming, and then we're also working on new stuff and a whole new investigation that we're hopefully going to turn into a full-length documentary.
A comment from the science branch of Hellbent Holler, not today, Saban. Yeah. astrophysics nerd opinion of the week, they're getting close to having to disclose everything given what they're finding with the James Webb Telescope. They're about to release photos of the inside of a black hole. And that might be it. It might be the fact that before the information age kicked into freaking high gear.
I'm gonna have to check my plug to make sure my laptop is plugged in.
Oh, good Lord, we're already having problems. Here,
I don't think that power strip is on.
Here, hold on.
Give me power.
Give me power.
Give me light.
Yep,
Yes.
there we go.
Perfect. All right. So we did just set up the studio.
When we say just set up the studio, we just set up the studio.
Yeah, we just set up the studio.
Set up the studio.
All right, but I have power. I was like, oh my God, we're going to lose the stream. All right, we're good to go. Go on.
But
Sorry to interrupt.
anyway, I think that's what's happening. I think that it's getting to the point where it's easy. I mean, we operate in the Southern Appalachians.
Mhm.
We operate with a lot of people that city folk would look at and go, well, he's just a toothless old hillbilly. What does he know? Well, you know, he's lived in this area his whole life and he's used to the outdoors. So he's saying he saw something weird. He saw something weird. But with the general, more urban, you know, urbanized society, a lot of people like that don't carry a lot of weight sometimes. Well, now you're having people who they've got an impressive list of credentials behind their names that are coming out saying there's something going on here. And I think that the information, I think it's going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to really kind of deny it much longer.
Yeah.
So what the flock is on here talking about something.
I'm trying to catch up with the chat right now because I know you and I kind of went off for a while on that one.
Yeah. Sorry about that, folks.
We do want to say that we want to thank you guys for joining us on our first show back for the Hellbent Holler Live. I got a bunch of people message me today that as soon as they saw the link go up and they saw the graphic, they were like, oh my God, and they flipped out. So we have missed you guys so much. We really want to say that we appreciate you guys coming and joining us on our first Monday back. We will be here going forward.
Yep.
At Monday, 7:30 Eastern time. We will be here going forward. So just to let you guys know, we are back and we're back in the game.
The usual suspects. And
let's see here. Blindfold Ranch. What's the next mission? Covered that. Hennessy Kristen says, you guys look relaxed and recharged, even though you moved. We took I think we took a mental break from sometimes when you, and like a lot of you guys who actually do like paranormal investigations,
you will understand exactly what we're talking about.
That you get so involved and so in depth in it, and you're exposed to so much, sometimes horrible stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're exposed to a lot of unknowns. Like we were worried we were exposed to radiation when we saw the light in the woods from a burning light, the orb, the portal, whatever it was. I'm genuinely concerned that we were exposed to radiation when that occurred because we did find residual radiation.
And I did get sick. So
he got sick. I got sick. The night it happened, I felt a burning on my on my face that I felt it through the next day. We detected residual radiation the next day. So that's something that we were concerned about, especially when we were starting to go into like almost like a UAP territory, because that's such an unknown and you don't know what kind of like effects that these things are going to have on you physically and mentally. So it was actually kind of nice to take a month off to.
It was weird because like we were physically exhausted, but we weren't as mentally drained because again, like I said, we both work regular jobs in order to be able to fund this and to be able to eat, you know, which is good. But all of our free time, we always make that joke about like, what's it like to sit around and just watch like TV, you know? Like I said, if we do watch something, it's usually something like, you know, like a documentary or whatever that's associated with the stuff we look into. And we haven't really done anything other than like work, sleep, move, and that's about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
But we are ready to dive back to that. And we're just super eager to get back into everything. There's a lot going on. We want to try to get in. We want to try to get out there. So
I think we're talking about, hoaxes and things like that earlier. Lance Landmark says hologram technology has progressed a lot further than 98% of people know. They can put up huge images now. Do you remember when they were doing hologram, like attempting to do hologram concerts with dead artists?
Yeah,
like
yeah. They had like Tupac up there. Yeah.
I'm surprised that they don't do that now more, because the technology is way beyond that. What was that? Almost like 10 years ago that they were doing like hologram
Yes, I'm
concerts?
sure. And somebody, I think Paul had brought up something about Project Bluebeam earlier. And here's the deal. Two separate things could be true. There could very easily be the phenomenon, as they call it, okay, that seems to have been going on for thousands of years. These strange lights, abductions, encounters, physical effects caused by these things, some sort of like non-human intelligence that seems to be interacting with us in ways that doesn't seem physically possible.
Yeah.
That can be going on, and that can be real. And then there can still be a
non-silenced phone.
There can still be God, we suck at this tonight. Like, computer's not plugged up, phone's not turned on.
Trying to dust ourselves off here.
So all my stuff was right. Dragging me down.
Your computer was also not plugged in.
Let's not talk about that. Anyway, you can have the phenomenon, and then you can have a human action that is trying to emulate that phenomenon in order to try to gain control.
Right.
So I'm just saying that there could very well be UFO, UAP activity, and that does not mean that Project Bluebeam or some variation is not happening, and vice versa. Just because Project Bluebeam might be a thing does not mean that there's not real UFOs out there. They talk about that with the...
what if the aliens are in cahoots with the government to put together a Project Bluebeam type scenario, but it's completely different from what the alien collaborators are, so it throws you off the trail. It's a Project Bluebeam red herring.
Now we're in like V territory. Anyway, but that's... Colm Kelleher had written a book that I'm getting ready to start reading now that we're starting to kind of get some sanity back in our lives. And he wrote a book about the cattle mutilation phenomenon and mad cow disease, and how that he thinks that when you were looking at the mutilated cow syndrome, that there were two separate phenomena going on. There was the one that is being committed by unknown forces that don't seem human.
Right.
Okay. And they're the ones that seem like they were committed by dudes in black helicopters taking samples from cows to check out the spread of prions in the North American food source. Okay? Right. And he just said that just because one's true does not mean that the other's not true. So I think that the same thing could be said about Project Bluebeam. Mm-hmm. Everybody's always like, it's a this or a that. I think it could be both. So...
Carolina Trail Cams asks, do y'all ever put trail cameras out?
Are you a trail cam manufacturer, and are you looking to sponsor a couple of intrepid cryptozoologists
who live in the Carolinas?
Yeah. We do. We've used trail cams. I'll tell you, our defining moment in trail cam use was in the mountains, where we found some prints on that old roadbed. Uh-huh. And we put up a couple of trail cams and left them for about a month to see if we could catch what was going on. There was an old roadbed winding up the side of a mountain that was basically almost completely eroded away, but it was still a hell of a lot easier than walking through the woods. Mm-hmm. And we put up 2 trail cams where we were catching prints. And when we came back to get them, the prints had veered behind the trail cams and then kept going. And I'm going, what the hell, man? I mean, how's this? Because I always just had a real problem with the idea that these creatures, these entities, Bigfoot, whatever, Dogman, could see in infrared, because that's biologically impossible.
That's assuming this is just a general, regular biological creature.
So, and then we tried trail cams in the LBL, but we tried the trail cams in the LBL with the wolf lure Sasquatch pheromone chips, and then the storm veered like 20 miles out of its way to hit us. So that experiment got kind of crapped out. So basically what we've used trail cams in the past for is to kind of direct. If we see movement going through a particular area, we know we can put up a trail cam and shift that movement over a little bit.
Yeah,
to see if that happens.
Kind of use it to herd.
Yeah, or to see if something reacts to the presence of it. So we've used them for that in the past, and we've just got basic trail cams. Where we're at, there's no real cell signal in our main area, so we don't have cell signal ones. But if you've got some good trail cams laying around, we'll put those bad boys to use.
Oh yeah.
Put them to use.
My favorite part of using trail cams, because we've never really gotten anything that's kind of a smoking gun or anything about that. But
With trail cams, never. Yeah.
my
never.
favorite part of reviewing the images is when we close it and we're trying to set it, and the first image is like just your face, like when you open up your phone and it's the camera's turned, it's all you have is your face up and out like this, looking at it to make sure that it's functioning. But yeah, we've never really gotten a smoking gun with it. We've put up quite a few trail cams. It's just the only thing we have, is we've gotten that whatever that was going towards the trail cam almost, and then around it, kind of around the field of view of it.
Oh boy, what the flock, who also just moved, and we thought it was bad doing it just the two of us. He did it solo.
Yeah.
He was hurting. Said Fred Roll recently did a video about those strange lights in the woods that are eerily similar to your burning light video. Really good and creepy stuff he gets into. I don't know who that is, so I just Googled the name, so I'll have to pull that up. So
All right. We are.
our boy
cruising.
Stingray jumped in the chat.
Sean Blevins is here. Hello, Sean.
Goshawk, Lady Wolf, Encrypted Connection.
All right, not today, Saban. Where are you at?
I'm
all right.
Pull it. What
You
got?
go in. You start going into this. There's a lot going on here.
All right.
If you want to start with it, it's at 7:59 there.
All right, let's see what we got.
So he's what the flock is saying. Sorry, Fred Roll is the subarctic Alaskan Sasquatch channel. But yeah, his video with the lights in the woods is way creepy. It seems like a lot of people are starting to get more light phenomenon on camera. I think that the Wild and Weird West Virginia guys are starting to get more light phenomenon as well. But it seems like that is starting to ramp up. I don't know if it's because our cameras are catching more. A lot more people are using the full spectrum setup that we use. I've had so many people contact us about the full spectrum cam that we use. We get it from Ghost Stop. We use the Phasm cam, but the whole setup, I know the Wild and Weird guys use it. A couple other people use it.
Deuster's got a setup
the
on
Deuster
it.
got that exact same setup.
We get about 1 or 2 emails a week with people
about that
looking
setup because
to
it's
set that up.
perfect. It's like perfect for mobile use, and it's that full spectrum cam. But I think a lot of people are starting to get light phenomenon on that setup now.
What the flock says, you guys should be genuinely concerned about those burning lights. No joke. Those lights show up in pretty much every culture across the planet. And when I say pretty much, it's because obviously I'm not familiar with every culture. So I'm sure there's a few out there that may not have them. But European folklore, Japanese folklore, I don't know about Chinese, so I don't know all the different parts of Asia. Native American folklore into South America, but everybody tells you don't follow the lights into the woods.
Right.
Don't follow the will-o-wisps. They're going to lead you off into a marsh and you're going to get off trail and drown, or you're just going to get lost and get caught by bandits, whatever. But now you're starting to see the modern equivalents of like the will-o-wisp, these little ball of light UAPs that's what the government's really involved with right now, is looking at short-term and long-term health effects that have been caused by people's exposure or encounters with these small balls of light. There's that one guy that the UAP task force looked into, that it flew through his chest and he started having like massive health problems through the exact area that it flew through him. So I think that they are dangerous on several different levels. And I think that if you just see them, and as long as you don't have the intention of trying to interact with them or go towards them, I think you're okay. That's not the intention we have. We didn't run towards the burning light, and I
wanted to.
Well, we ain't. We might next time, now that we know that area a little bit better. But
so I'm still trying to catch up here. They were talking about James Yeager carried an AK in a backpack to the LBL, and he thought that that was kind of interesting considering the history of the place. And then Gunpowder Owl follows up with that with Red Wolf. I thought guns were not allowed in the LBL.
They're not, but
Guns are only allowed during hunting season, and it can only be a firearm that you would use in hunting.
yeah, applicable to whatever game you're hunting. But back in the day, like our first couple of times the LBL, we didn't see a single like ranger. We didn't see a single employee there, really, outside of like the one little welcome center that was open. This past time when we were down there with Barton, and the Dooster,
yeah,
we saw tons. We saw absolutely tons of them.
We saw several members of several three-letter agencies.
And now the people that are around there, that are in there more often than we are, like Martin Groves and Barton and War Criminal and Daryl Denton and all of them, it seems like people are running into the authorities with much greater frequency than they did in the past. So back in the day, you could probably easily get away with like carrying an AK in your backpack. You're not going to run anybody to ask any questions.
Yeah.
But now it seems like right around the time that all that activity supposedly happened around there, you just had an influx of just weird stuff. And maybe it's not related, but you have the stuff that Martin Groves is looking into as far as like dogman attacks and shootings and everything like that. Then you have those weird hog hunts that we experienced. And I'm sure they hunt hogs in the LBL.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a presence of
the details and the timing on that was extremely weird. Then you have all the weird road closures for no reason. You don't want to be ghoulish and, you know, throw something in that maybe isn't related, but you had that helicopter go down immediately afterwards with the, you know, the servicemen on it.
Yeah.
All this stuff seemed to happen in a relatively short amount of time down there. And now you see a much greater official presence than you've seen in the past.
Yeah.
So
War Criminal 7 says, Al, I think they're getting ready to lift the firearms policy. That would have me a bit concerned with a bunch of the people that go to the LBL.
Yeah, because
go to the LBL to do cryptid hunting.
Y'all know better than we do. There's some sketchy areas down there, man.
Yeah.
So there's some sketchy areas. But
yeah.
Anyway, Vault of Nightmares in the chat. This is old chat right behind, but he had asked if we thought about using GoPros. We actually use GoPro Hero 8s.
Hero 8 Blacks. We use two of those.
Are.
Yeah, it's the Hero 8 Blacks. We use those during the day. We each have one that we use during the day. We use that or a Sony during the day.
Yeah, we went with the 8s because when we were looking at getting one, I guess they changed the technology a little bit from the 9s on, and I was seeing that a lot of the newer ones from after the 8 model would overheat and lose data sometimes. So we were looking at it going, we don't really need a front-facing screen. We don't need any of this other stuff. We just need something that's going to be reliable to be able to pick up really clear video. And then we got media mods for them. And that, I think we got media mods from donations off the channel, didn't we? So yeah, people donated one night and we got media mods. Isn't that what we got? How we got those?
Yeah.
So yeah, but we usually use those during the daytime because they're so much, like, they're so handy.
Yeah, they're small, they're mobile. The images are really clear. The file sizes are absolutely huge, but that's not a big problem. But they're great. They're great for on the go usage, and you can use the setup like we do for the Phasm cam. But we do a full spectrum cam at night. That way we have that sort of night vision with the full spectrum. It does UV and it does IR and it does visible light. So we use both of those, and then we use the Sony that also has a IR night vision.
Gunpowder Owl, moving to Florida. You and the rest of the country, man. Have fun with those crowds.
Paul M says trail cams be good in occult activity areas just to see. That would be assuming that these people in this occult activity area doesn't smash or take down your trail cam.
That's the other thing that we worry about too, is that
like if you have a trail cam up and there's bears in the area,
they'll smell the battery sometimes and smash them. But
or there's like a bobcat. The bobcat's not gonna take your trail cam down.
Yeah, but people, if you see them, and the thing is you can camouflage them obviously with like foliage and everything like that. But then when the wind blows, you're gonna be getting a lot of photos of those leaves blowing in front of it. So it's kind of a catch. But the other thing too is we have to be kind of judicious in how we use our equipment, because if we lose it, we're paying for it. It's not like we got a network behind us.
Right.
And something smashed our 20 trail cams, you know. That would be like ruinous to us.
300 trail
And
cams.
you should put 1,000 trail cams across the woods. North Carolina. I'm sorry, North Central Ohio Paranormal. More cattle mutilations in the news. Yeah, I did see a little bit on that where they were talking about the cattle mutilations. I'll be honest with you. I saw that. I logged into Facebook just to check Messenger because I was trying to catch up somewhat on messages. And somebody had posted the news story of that sheriff's department looking into the cattle mutilations in Texas. I'm looking at it, and the way that the sheriff's department was talking about it, I thought that was a parody Facebook page. You know what I'm saying? You know, have those fake police departments on there that just do these overly exaggerated stories sometimes. And the joke is that half the people don't realize it's overly exaggerated and fake and get all outraged. I thought that was a fake story at first until I went to their page and looked at it, and I went, holy crap, this is a real sheriff's office talking really openly about this. So yeah, the cattle mutilation thing, and at all the hallmarks, very clean cuts that almost looked like they were done with a laser, certain, particular parts of the body taken. Scavengers would not touch them after they were gone, after they were dead.
Yeah, the carcasses would just lay there and just rot. Scavengers wouldn't come in and feast upon them at all.
And Martin Grove says it's like they're building a compound on the top of the devil's backbone. Choppers everywhere and strange lights. I have gotten so many people emailing us talking about, well, there's a military base nearby. They're just training in the LBL. They're not training in the LBL.
No.
They're not training in a national recreation area. They're not. They have, I don't know how many hundreds of acres under, military control specifically for training.
Outside of Fort Campbell.
Yeah, outside of Fort Campbell. And if they were training there, do you know the amount of notices that would go out to the public that the military was training in a particular area because they don't want hikers or
because you
like that coming around
could easily have a hiker wander through there if they're doing a training exercise, if they're doing live fire exercises or
even
shooting
like
from helicopters.
That's a major health,
liability.
it's a safety risk. Yeah. So there's no training going on in the LBL. I mean, people can now they do have SOAR, the basically special aviation branch, like that very special forces around and all that. They're based nearby, but again, there's no training that goes on in the LBL proper. There's just not. They don't have training exercises in the LBL. I know that everybody wants to debunk everything and that they are going to throw out what they think is a rational explanation, but at least look into your rational explanation first to see if it's actually rational. So some of the stuff that they're seeing going on there is not training exercises.
Right.
So
now
and that's my rant. There we go.
Something's very important. Martin Groves says we carry biennial wieners to give
to them.
The Stingray 1975 is a good piece of advice here. Don't buy Libby's Vienna sausages. They're horrible. Buy Armor.
What do you and Martin eat?
Armor.
You guys eat Armor?
I've never eaten a Libby's. I call them they're Vienna sausages. Vienna. The Vienna. I've never eaten a Libby's Vienna.
I don't tell you because I don't have much of an accent, but hanging out with you and Martin, it's like Beverly Hillbillies, man. You know what I'm saying? So,
We'll offer you a weenie too.
We'll offer you a weenie in this trying time. So, all right, catching up.
Yeah, we're rolling. We're rolling, guys.
We're rolling. We're catching up. We're rolling. So
everybody's been so busy lately.
I know, man. Dewey and D are in the chat. So our friend Sean Blevins I don't want to get into the type of job he does because I don't want to dox him, but he works outdoors. And he reached out to me going, I'm going into this particular area. And I was going, all right, man, take your camera with you. See if you can get like a little digital recorder. And then I don't think you've seen these yet, but he started catching just all sorts of just weird, how we feel about tree structures. A lot of times they're just natural. They look, well, there's no way that could have happened. It might have, you don't know. So, but some of the stuff Sean was finding was just picture after picture after picture. And I'm just like, dude, you've got to like get in there somehow at night. You know what I'm saying? With somebody. But yeah, your stuff that you caught was just was just, I saw the first couple and then you just had more and more. And I'm going, all right, there's definitely something going on out there. So
Ghetto Yeti says cattle mutilations are up in Texas.
And that's what they had said. They had said that in that story that the sheriff's department was saying, we've got these, but then there have been something like 7, 8, 9 previous cases that had happened that just didn't make their way into the news. So again, I just think some of the stuff's getting to the point where it can't be like overlooked and like covered up like it used to be. So
Manu says, I was getting worried you had been dogmanned. No, we just went through the traumatizing experience of buying a house.
Hey, Sheila Ebeling is in the house. Let's do our knife dump.
Oh, yes.
The patron saint of Hellbent Holler.
So Sheila Ebeling
sent us some housewarming presents. She
sent us some knives that actually turn into push daggers.
From Scallywag Tactical.
Yes.
Check that bad boy out. So.
Isn't that neat? Look at that.
Yeah, so it was crazy. We were in the middle of moving and we get an email from her going, you're going to get a package, which, so we really appreciate that, Sheila. Yeah. Thank you.
So I think that's pretty dang cool.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. So that is our blade dump for the night, courtesy of
Sheila Ebeling.
So. War Criminal is asking when Monster Fest was. Do you want to give that date one more time?
Monster Fest is going to be June 3rd. That's a Saturday in Canton, Ohio at the DoubleTree. I believe that the hotel is sold out, but it is downtown Canton, Ohio. So you can probably still find lodging elsewhere and wander down there on Saturday, June the 3rd. The night before, they are doing a premiere of a film at one of the local movie houses. So if you want to go to that, you need to get tickets for that in advance as well. But I think you can buy tickets for Monster Fest at the door. Don't quote me on that. But you can check out smalltownmonsters.com for information on Monster Fest.
Stingray, 1975. Can't believe nobody has investigated the Great Dismal Swamp. I'm sure somebody's gone in there and done some stuff. I don't like swamps. From living in Louisiana for all those years. I mean, we've talked about trying to go do Skateboard Swamp where the lizard man was sighted at. And I don't want to go in the summertime, man. I'll do a wintertime swamp investigation.
Yeah, but you're not going to have a lot of, I don't expect a swamp to be completely teeming with wildlife in the winter. Maybe it is. It's not like these animals and these creatures disappear.
Not like it's that cold, so. Dogman sighting in Bandera, Texas. Texas has been super active, as far as dogman stuff goes. I'll tell you the active hotspots in the country right now, and this is just from our own limited knowledge, is in and around the LBL, southwestern Virginia, and then parts of Texas. I don't know the Texas geography well enough to speak to it, but just parts of Texas seem to be just alive right now.
Taylor Guerin says, oh yes, dual layers of deception, one masking behind the other. Colm Kelleher, LOL, his name's hard to spell. He is a ninja in the field of animal mutilations. Very few that know what's up.
Yeah, he's got a book out that goes kind of just deep into it that sounded extremely interesting when I was looking at it.
Colm Kelleher is also the person that did Skinwalkers at the Pentagon.
He used a term called bisymmetrical misdirection. I can't remember what it was because I had to look it up because I've never heard that term before. And I think it's just something he coined, but it's basically where the government takes a pre-existing mysterious phenomenon and then basically tailors their actions in order to be able to use it as a cover, hey, I was in my, south field and this light came over the horizon and I went over to look at it and I found these chopped up cows, yeah, you're just talking crazy talk, no, really, they're right here, because he was talking about how some of them seem to exhibit different cuts. Some of them seem like they're made something like a laser. Others seem to be normal scalpel cuts. And that in some cases they had actually found remnants of medical equipment there, veterinary medical equipment. They rolled a cow over and there's a giant syringe there. But then he's also so he's saying that, and then I'm standing here thinking, well, what if they're doing that on purpose to try to misdirect you and make you think it's not alien and that it's, or interdimensional or whatever, and that it's the government doing it. Because I was going, so there was just a big old syringe laying there, huh? You know, it almost sounded like classic misdirection. So I don't think anybody knows what the hell's going on.
What's really cool about Colm Kelleher is Robert Bigelow actually found him through placing an ad in like a science magazine, and he responded to the ad to join this task force that was funded by Robert Bigelow. And every time there was a cattle mutilation or something that they thought could be an animal mutilation, they would call them up, and this whole team would be dispatched. I think they were based in Las Vegas because most of this was happening out in the western area. A lot of it would happen like in Utah, but they would just be able to just hop on a plane at a moment's notice and dispatch, and they would get there within 24 hours of the report being made in most cases.
That would just be awesome to actually have funding
to be on an animal mutilation task force, and they did this for like a long time.
And just anything, because like I said, we've had activity going on south of us that has been ramping up over the past like month, and we just haven't been able to get down there. And because like I said, I mean, when you get down to it, pretty much everybody that does this are amateurs, meaning that you don't get paid to do it. You know, I think I saw one of the Olympic Project guys talking about it. And he was just going, everybody that does this is an amateur, man. I'm a landscaper, you know, in my regular time.
Yeah.
But it would be so awesome to be able to get, you know, that sort of response time to it, you know, to be able to respond so quickly to that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but for something like that, you would need a billionaire like Robert Bigelow.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, and I guess if you had that money, there'd be strings along with it. That information is not going to be open sourced to the public. They're wanting that information for a particular reason.
I think it's pretty interesting. I'm very appreciative of Robert Bigelow, that he is a billionaire that made all of this money in aerospace, but that he funneled a huge chunk of his funds towards advancing the study of UAPs and this phenomenon, and really just spent a lot of his own money to try to get some answers and try to move the needle a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's a question of, I think it's a matter of like scale though. I mean, we think he spent a lot of money on there. To him, that's probably just the equivalent of like couch cushion change.
Yeah, but he didn't have to do that. That's like, I wish there were more crazy millionaires and more crazy billionaires who are willing to put the money forward to advance some of
like just some crazy Howard Hughes type that instead of collecting his own like urine in jars, wanted to like just throw out some checks. But again, you got to wonder, would that money come with like such hooks that you'd just be another one of these people getting the truth that then you couldn't share it, you know? Or maybe
because the only people that really make any kind of, the only people that are really able to make a full-time go at it is if you have like a TV show. And a lot of times with the TV shows, they have, you know, they're motivated by the storyline. They're motivated by ratings and all of that.
The whole idea,
they have to get something.
You have to, like with Skinwalker Ranch, even if they are trying to deliver a truthful message about stuff that's really going on, at the end of the day, it's still dramatized. They still have to like sell like cat litter.
Yeah.
And, you know,
hemorrhoid medication.
Hemorrhoid medication. If they're not selling that cat litter and that hemorrhoid medication during the commercial spots, they're not going to be able to deliver that message anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was weird because when you got better at video editing and you were like, listen, I want to try to present this in a way that it conveys what we were feeling at that time.
Yeah.
Above and beyond just the sound and the video images. I wanted to convey so people can understand what we were dealing with and can kind of get an idea of themselves, what we were experiencing at that point. That's when we started getting crazy comments like, you should put out 300 trail cams. And I'm going, we don't have like a network behind us or anything like that. We're just two weirdos with like,
I want to be like, do you know how much 300 trail cams would cost? You know?
So, but the thing is that we're doing that not to be overly dramatic, but to try to convey a same sense of like
emotion. I think when I edit my videos together and when we film everything, we try to keep it as intimate as possible. When we film it, we try to keep it as intimate as possible.
And it needs to be like, I'm just gonna be honest with you, it needs to be cool, man, because it's a cool, stuff is, at the end of the day, it's a cool topic to be into. It's not just, you're not that weirdo at the gas station anymore talking, oh, that guy I think believes in Bigfoot. I mean, we are to certain people, but it's a cool topic filled with really cool freaking people. And it's
Mhm.
like a sexy topic nowadays. You know what I'm saying? It's not just,
Oh,
it's not just,
let's not get ahead of ourselves and
Ourselves.
call it a sexy topic.
I think it is, man. It's a cool topic. Look, I mean, you go to more people right now, more people know about Skinwalker Ranch than have ever known about it.
That's true. That's
And
true.
you have people in your life that had not familiar with any of this stuff that have watched your videos and then just gotten sucked into
Yeah.
them. And now that's sparked an interest in them to look into it more and more.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have the best information in the world, and if you serve it in a really boring manner, no one's ever going to see it. You know what I'm saying?
So you kind of have to have that sizzle on the steak to get more people involved into looking into the phenomenon and being interested into the phenomenon.
All right. So,
Interesting. Bill Smith says, you guys going to Blade Show?
I don't even know when Blade Show is. When is Blade
It's
Show?
always in the summer. I think it's in June.
I don't know. We didn't go.
We didn't go last year. You know what? I tell you what, here's a problem that we've got right now. We got a serious issue here at Hellbent Holler headquarters. When we went to go see the Brown Mountain Lights, when we went to go check that out, we actually went to Boone, North Carolina as a part of that little jaunt. We went to Daniel Winkler's store, Winkler Actual in Boone, North Carolina that same day. And ever since we went to Daniel Winkler's store and both purchased really amazing knives, we have not been able to find any knives that we really, really, really are passionate about.
Like this was unique because
this is really unique. Yeah.
I was like looking at it going, what is it, a lockback? And then I went, oh, wait. You know what I'm saying?
That's terrible.
But just going, but we've been spoiled now. It's gotta be very unique, or it's gotta be really cool. And so I don't know if we're gonna do Blade Show.
Yeah. Joe found a really cool knife maker recently that he really likes, and he's been looking at stuff that he has.
But we're flat broke after the move, so that ain't happening for like a while. So I'm just gonna be honest.
So that's gonna be a while.
I'm just gonna be honest with you.
You would not believe what a task moving and buying a house.
And then right as that Stingray comes in with a 20, looks like you're eating tomorrow. Okay. Oh. Thank you, Stingray.
The babies get to eat.
All right. So thank you for that, Stingray.
Yes, we do appreciate that. But yeah, it's we used to go to Blade Show every year. I think when Lynn Thompson sold Cold Steel,
that magic went out of it.
The magic went out of it because we used to go to Blade Show and Lynn Thompson used to be there. You know, he would have all this safety equipment on,
throwing tomahawks and stuff, fighting three guys,
just pouring sweat. I mean, just pouring sweat because he's out there battling like three dudes with axes, doing demonstrations. That was really amazing. We just used to have such a great time at Blade Show, and we were really excited about going. But there's not a lot of knife makers that really excite me right now. I really love the Winkler that I got at Winkler Actual, and I haven't found anything that I'm really excited about.
Because we are now Dogman piss collectors instead. Knives are so passé.
What's wrong with you?
This is why we missed Monday nights. You know what I'm saying? So.
Hellbent heinous. Heinous.
Thank you, Kim Drescher. If you want to know about animal mutilations, check out Linda Moulton Howe from the 1970s. Yeah, Linda Moulton Howe was like, and it was weird because I saw Linda Moulton Howe on The Theory of Everything with Kurt, what's his last name? Jindal or whatever. And
that's a very good show.
It's a very good show, but she got very offended during it because I think that a lot of those people from you know, the I don't know if you want to call it like the golden age of all of this stuff around the Art Bell days and all of that. I guess those people have just put up with just so much ridicule over the years that all of them are very sensitive to it. And he was trying to ask her a question and she was getting extremely, but at the same token, I'm going, you've kind of got to understand that she
got dragged through the mud for a long time, you know, and it's just like, you know, take for example, like Melba Ketchum, you know, that whole thing with the DNA study and everybody.
Keep going. So.
Are you okay? Yeah. We've lost Joe. I will remember you. Okay. But when you think about Melba Ketchum and the whole DNA study, I mean, you still have people who are dragging her through the mud with that. You know, I know that at that Central Florida Bigfoot conference that Jeff Meldrum and David Paulides got
Went
into
hammer and tongs into it. So,
they started swinging purses at each other over that whole situation. So,
well, from what I understand, David Paulides was fairly calm about it. And I know Melba Ketchum's supposedly doing a cryptid DNA analysis right now because somebody actually that I know from the Bigfoot world asked me about it. And I was just like, you know more than I do, obviously, you know. And I was just, what's weird is because again, I DNA testing, you know, the genetic testing like that is such a specialized science. I don't think most people know enough about it. And I think if somebody stands there and just speaks to you convincingly, you're going to go, okay, this is an authority about it. So I don't know, because I do know that she was good enough to be used to identify remains post 9/11 after the 9/11 attack.
right.
So this whole thing about how she's just some crackpot and everything like that, that's wasn't always, you know. And you know as well as I do that sometimes when you're exposed to this stuff and then you try to talk to people who haven't been exposed to that stuff,
You just sound insane.
you come across crazy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and you've got a and I think that, so I don't know. I know she's doing more on it. I know she's doing DNA testing. She had like supposed dogman DNA that she wanted to try to do. So you know what, regardless whether you believe it or not, it's interesting and it's something to at least listen to and try to consume. So.
You know, give it a try. Give it a try. This is a very important comment I'd like to read here from Robbie Carver. Glad you guys are back. Hope the move went well. I find you two the most forthcoming, well-researched, well-spoken, and best-looking research of all things weird and paranormal. Enjoy your vids. Thank you so much, Robbie Carver. It is
best looking. It's all I'm taking from that.
Joe So's best looking.
All I'm taking from that is best looking.
Really, really good looking dogman researchers. Oh gosh.
Chris Snyder asked where we've been. Chris, we had to move. We were planning on moving later on in the year, and circumstances kind of like got ahead of us, and we had to end up moving quicker than we anticipated. And now is not the best time to really be looking for real estate, in case anybody's unaware of that. So,
yeah, it's kind of a bad time.
Kind of a bad time. So we had to, and unfortunately, all of our money is tied up in not in the stock market, but in camera equipment, EMF detectors. Does this mortgage company take Geiger counters, by the way? So, but yeah, so we're back. We turned a corner on it this weekend, and we're able to get, because we work opposite schedules throughout the week. So we really only see each other a couple days a week. So we've been working on one-person jobs in between working, and then when we're together, that's when we're moving furniture, doing stuff like that. So
I think for that entire, it took us almost 3 weeks to move.
Yeah.
Just move everything.
It's crazy.
And it was just like we'd get together, we'd see each other in passing between work and stuff to move the big stuff, and then it was just all by ourselves.
And I do want to say, I know this has kind of become a catch-up show more than anything else.
Yeah.
We mostly just wanted to get on here and reconnect with everybody, see what everybody is like. Make sure do
we gotta get back in this game, guys.
Gotta get back in the game. So
back to the Blade Show. Bill Smith, who asked the initial question, said all kinds of interesting bipedal species at Blade.
You have the skinny little butterfly knife kids.
Oh, you've got the kilts.
You've got the guys in kilts.
Guys in kilts.
You have the 600-pound dudes in tactical gear who were just staring at everybody like going, I could end everybody in this room right now if I had to. You have
the parade of mobility scooters.
Yeah, you got a bunch of mobility scooters. You've got the old man Randall collectors. You have the Emerson dudes, Emerson knife guys that are own little like subset. Yeah, you've got like, you can just look at people.
I will say, if you ever go to Blade, the butterfly knife competition is pretty wild. It's these little anime dudes that are just like, some of them are just insane. And you're just waiting for somebody to just lob a finger off.
Russell Family Feed. I always laugh at this name. What Winkler did you get? We both have I got a belt knife previously. She has a Blue Ridge Hunter, and then I got this.
But at the store, at the trip.
I got a field knife.
Mm-hmm. And I got a dagger.
Yeah, I can't remember what that dagger is called, but yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that, Grace W. Thank you. Glad y'all are back.
W. We really appreciate
Mondays
it.
Again. Yeah, we've been missing Mondays, so we'll come prepared with lots of cool stuff to discuss. So,
Michael, this is nice to say. You two weirdos put your safety on the line every video. You debunk enough, but present the things that can't be done easily. Thank you. Much appreciated.
yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily we try to take a critical look at stuff. I sometimes get to the point of absurdity trying to look at critical things, not trying to debunk it, but I would rather we point out, oh, it's just that, than get really super psyched and then have somebody else point that out for us. And then we look like a bunch of morons. So, and I just try to game it through because I'm trying to game it through going, all right, what are people going to say about this? And let me just try to, so usually when we get some real negative comments about like, oh, it's just a this, dude, we've already thought about that. Trust me. Okay. Now, occasionally we get something that's pretty insightful, you know, hey, are you guys aware of this? But, so I don't necessarily think it's debunking. It's just that we try to look at it as objectively as possible. Well, as objectively as possible to somebody who's open to this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So some people look at something objectively and certain answers are just completely off the table because they're not open to that. We're open to pretty much anything, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I appreciate that. Thank you. So
Kim Drescher says, you know, I've inherited all my family's buck knives and I think they're wonderful.
We're like huge buck knife fans.
We have a
buck knives.
Yeah. They have a really cool hat that they just put out recently that I want to buy so bad.
Brad Holloway, it's Daniel Winkler. You guys know him if you ever, what is that, the Terminal List on Amazon? He's the guy that did all those like tomahawks.
Yeah, and then he did the weapons for the Last of the Mohicans
as well. Yeah. So he's like,
but the store is in Boone, North Carolina. It's called Winkler Actual. Contact them for hours. Their hours are very weird. But if you ordered a Winkler knife right now, you wouldn't get it for months. Yeah. But he makes knives and then he'll put them in his stores. If you go to his store, you can actually see what he has available immediately. There's also a knife museum inside the store that's pretty amazing.
What do we think of Dr. Greer? I am not educated enough on him personally. I know that the opinions of him go from like just short of being a prophet to just like a snake oil salesman. So with everything in between, I will say that the CE5 stuff seems to bear, we're very divided on CE5.
Yeah.
I think it's basically just might not even be a step away. You're basically standing in a circle conjuring demons at that point, man. You are putting yourself into a meditative state. You're going through prescribed actions, and then the unearthly is showing up. Basically, it's your beckoning. She wants to try it. I am just going, I'm very opposed to the idea because at that point, it seems like although I don't know, I'm sitting here right now going, how's that different than what we do every week? So
yeah, exactly. I mean, you're going out there with intention. You're going out there with a purpose, and then you're going out there and you're trying to make contact with something. I don't understand the difference. So anyway. What would be, I was just thinking last when you were talking about doing CE5, what do you think would happen if you tried CE5 while you're, you know how most people do CE5 like on a hilltop when it's like dark and, you know, they're trying to see something in the sky. What if you were doing CE5 in a sensory deprivation tank? And if I did that during one of my sessions, and instead of physically connecting with a UFO or another entity, I could mentally connect with one.
All right. So what if you could, let me throw you something else differently here, because obviously sensory deprivation tanks are few and far between, but what if you went to an area that was known for physical, quote unquote, cryptid activity as opposed to UFO activity, and you tried CE5? Because again, you know where I stand at. I don't think these are flesh and blood things that are making nests and living in dens. If they are, they're just here temporarily. You know what I'm saying? They're coming out, they're hanging out here for a little while. Maybe they're eating, maybe they're leaving scat, maybe they're sleeping, doing whatever, but then they go somewhere else. They're not here all the time. But there are areas that seem to have more of a physical presence. LBL, Georgia, Southwest Virginia, places like that. What if you went and you tried a variation of CE5 in these areas? Would you be able to summon, manifest, whatever, something more physical than a light in the sky?
Yeah.
So while you were staked down.
Wait, why are you staking
covered in
me
bacon?
down?
Well, because we're going to
covered in baby oil.
Bacon grease.
Oh, I thought you were saying baby oil. I was like, Jesus, is this for the OnlyFans channel or is this for the YouTube channel? Bacon grease.
Bacon grease. Give you the Jurassic Park Go treatment.
Is it gonna eat the Jesse?
It's gonna eat the Jesse. So,
Oh, good.
Martin's out here. What's up, buddy?
Martin Groves is a fan of Randall's.
Of course he is.
He's one of those Randall men.
Randall.
Randall.
A lot of debate over Melba Ketchum. Again, people fight. She's one of those polarizing. I think everybody in this topic's polarizing, though.
Yeah,
you know
for sure.
So I think everybody's polarizing at this point.
Good Batter Al says that the Terminalist Tomahawk scene made this show. We gotta watch that. Just we're Winkler fanboys.
All right. What the flock has throwing knife. It doesn't surprise me. He probably has like a room with like throwing knives and throwing stars, nunchucks.
I want to do a throwing knife like range here.
Yeah.
You and I are about to roll.
This is what's so cool about it. I think Judy Wheeler's talking about the DNA that's coming from spiders. I don't even know what that. I know that they were looking at spider silk to incorporate into bullet resistant. What? What's wrong?
C5 sitting on the toilet is probably your best bet here.
Oh, good Lord.
You'll conjure something, that's for sure.
Why does this virus have spider DNA? Now I'm going on a spider DNA rabbit hole. Let's save that for later. So.
North Central Ohio Paranormal NCOP says the science community will never accept nor acknowledge any evidence that we have caught or may catch because they can't make it happen upon demand in their own controlled environment.
Being able to replicate it. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they need to be able to replicate it and then test it repeatedly. And like they talked about at Skinwalker Ranch, that they were going, this stuff won't happen on demand. And not only will it not happen on demand, what have we seen? We go out geared up for like a Bigfoot hunt and we have everything but Bigfoot stuff happen. And then we go back that following week geared up to like do a ghost hunt in the woods and we find like a giant Bigfoot. It's like it senses what's going. It's almost like precognition and it's an a-hole.
Okay.
On top of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, you're thinking about I just don't think that you should think about it in those terms. You have people who are wildlife biologists who will go out and they'll witness some sort of ape behavior that has never been seen before, and they'll get it on camera, right? Mm-hmm. You can't have that in not domesticated, but like apes that are in captivity. Mm-hmm. They won't replicate that behavior. Does that mean that this behavior didn't occur? Yeah, because it can't be replicated in apes that are in captivity? Mm-hmm. You know, we're talking about animals and creatures here, not really just a science experiment necessarily.
But yeah, they're just gonna. Well, it's weird because it seems like the. Remember when we were doing that dive into Jack Parsons, and they were talking about cowboy science, the era of cowboy science, where you would just have these just dudes who were like equal parts genius and just certifiably insane that would just get tons of money, and they weren't. Like they didn't need immediate results. So they were able to really kind of go in there, and you get a lot of talk about like how anti-gravity was maybe discovered back then and kind of hushed up. But these cowboy scientists that don't really exist nowadays, because you have to be able to justify the money that you're spending for these things. You got to justify it pretty quick. So I think that what happens is that you don't really have those like cowboy scientists anymore, but I think you're starting to see them on a smaller scale right now with people like Jacques Vallée, Colin Kelleher, people that legit have, they're not people.
Gary Nolan.
Yeah, especially Gary Nolan, but they're not of dubious background. Okay. Mm-hmm. They're not of people that have these claims. And then you go, that's weird. It seems like you dropped out of high school. The government changed all of my records to silence me. I mean, how many patents?
Is that a dig at Bob Lazar?
No, it's not. I guess you know what I think about Bob Lazar. But you're starting to get people that have some real pedigree that are coming out going. It's not just Jacques Vallée alone anymore. Mm-hmm. He's getting like the next generation like geared up for it. So I think that maybe that will one day kind of change a little bit.
I love listening to Gary Nolan interviews because
Gary Nolan's like my favorite person to listen to.
He is. I mean, he holds. Gosh, he holds like 30 or 40 biomedical patents.
Yes.
He has established like 9 or 10 biomedical companies. He's a absolute genius. and he is very, very interested in the field.
And
of
you can tell that
UAPs
he's
and
also
what is happening with it,
Here-
and he's so reluctant about it too,
Well, it's
because
'cause
he
he's-
knows what hell he is about to catch.
No,
or
that's the
whatever
thing.
he says.
That's exactly where I'm going to with it. He's so intrigued by the phenomenon, but he's so disgusted by a large portion of the people who are into the phenomenon, the constant debunking at any costs, the this and that, but he's still so intrigued. You can tell sometimes he just looks at himself in the mirror and he just goes, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like
Yeah.
we do sometimes. Why are we putting ourselves through this? But yeah, I think you're starting to see maybe the beginning of enough legit scientists looking at it that it's going to make some headway. But here's the thing, though, is that you've got legit scientists looking at this, and all they can do is tell you it doesn't conform with our understanding of science. But I guess, at the end of the day, you need a real, what was that guy's name? Eric Weinstein, that was on Joe Rogan. And it had its good parts and its bad parts, that interview. But he had a great point. He goes, these people are telling me this is behaving in a manner inconsistent with physics. And he goes, great. How many physicists do you have on your team? Well, we don't really have any. And then he goes, then how the hell do you know it doesn't conform with our laws of physics? You need a physicist to get in here and look at this to tell you what's going on. And I'm going, he's got a point.
You can't have a cursory, knowledge of a subject and then just claim, like, by decree. Debunked by decree is my new favorite phrase.
Yeah.
That everything is debunked by decree. It's just because I say it's debunked, it's now debunked.
Well, and
that's complete bullshit.
Yeah. So
like outright.
Yes.
And it's such a common thing within this field that people can just spout off this nonsense to say, oh, that has been debunked or that has been fact checked. Then it hasn't. It absolutely has not. What's going on? What the flock says. Get back here. Remember that
Jimmy's
guy
saying that? What the flock says.
What the flock says. Ladies and gentlemen, next to the stage, what the flock. What the flock says. Remember that guy that had his face ripped off by a chimp? I know his neighbor. He sits out on his porch now with all the scars and waves at people. I don't F with chimps, man.
I don't even know what that's in relation to, but I just saw it and just bam.
There's been a lot of people who have had their faces ripped off by chimps.
Yeah.
There was a guy who had his balls bitten off by a chimp.
Yeah, they say go for your face and your testicles.
Yeah, face and testicles. They know how to fight dirty in the streets.
What the flock says, saw one of the FBI speech analysis done on Bob Lazar, and the conclusion was that he was being completely honest. It's weird. I started off like that with Bigfoot, and then I had a complete 180. Well, I didn't have a complete 180. I did like a 90 and then another 90, which adds up to 180. But a complete about face on what I thought was real about it. And same way with Bob Lazar. I used to think just definitively just crackpot. He's getting rich off of it. And then you start to look into it and I'm going, man, this has really caused this dude nothing but grief, And it's not like he's out doing like the lecture circuit or anything like that. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I understand all of the compelling reasons why people think he's a phony, but yet I still don't think I don't think he's fraud. I think there's some legit stuff going on there. So
he's just a very strange man too. And I think that's very off-putting to a lot of people. And I don't think he understands how like general normal people function because I mean, he's building rocket engines in his backyard.
Yeah.
He really doesn't understand how social media works or anything like that. He's just built completely different.
Here's again what the flock's basically carrying the show for us, like usual. Here's the thing: just the government admitting UFOs are real. If they did the same thing with with cryptids, then guess what? Nobody would still care. And I agree with you on that. I used to think that there was some sort of like delineation between the two. Well, that's happening up in the sky, and these things are on the ground, and there are people going missing, and blah 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 blah. Well, guess what? Elements of that are coming out with like the UFO UAP stories now. That there's stuff going on the ground and there's people being hurt and dying and there's legit people saying that. Nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? They might find it's interesting. It still appeals to that same core audience. But again, those are people that are really into it. The general public doesn't care. I think that you're right. And I think that maybe again, I don't think that the government really knows what's going on, just like anybody else. They might have a better idea, but obviously the stuff in the air and the things on the ground, they can't control them. They can't make them go away. They might be able to have some small effect on them in certain ways. Maybe we've shot some UFOs down. Maybe we have knocked them out with a radar, like supposedly happened in Roswell. Maybe some of these physical entities on the ground have been shot and killed or captured. But I think the totality of the phenomenon, it does its thing, and the government can't do anything with it.
Right.
So I think that maybe the government's starting to realize we were really stressing over nothing. These people are still going to pay their taxes. They're still going to stop at red lights. They're still going to listen to what we say. They're still going to watch the evening news, whether these things are admitted to or not. So I think he's right. I think we're hitting to that point. I think people have hit bad news and information overload.
Oh,
to them, it's
for
just
sure.
it's another headline. You know what I'm saying? So, oh God, what's going on now, honey? There's monkeys in the woods eating people. They're like 7 feet tall. The government says they can't do anything about them. Well, we don't really go into the woods anyway, Bob. You know, all right, yeah, you're right. I need you to unclog the toilet now. Okay. And then it's just not talked about. Somebody might talk about it at a water cooler. All right.
Not today, Saban has been talking about AI through the chat here, and this is actually a good point that software web developers are using AI to write code, and the code works. 2023 is going to be the most recent technological explosion since splitting the atom. It terrifies me to think of where it's going to go, and I think it scares a lot of people. But I don't think there's any putting the toothpaste back in the tube now when it comes to AI.
And NTS here would know better than most, but the exponential growth of it, because again, it's not like this is not my own original thought. I heard somebody talk about this somewhere, but they were talking about, like, you think of like AI, like Skynet from the movies. It's just a really smart machine. You know what I'm saying? And they're just like, no, it's like you're basically dealing with an alien civilization that is 1,000,000 times smarter than you.
Yeah.
That learns 1,000,000 times faster. It has 1,000,000 times faster information recall and just thinks in ways that you just couldn't even possibly comprehend. And before you've even finished your thought or your action, it's come up with 1,000,000 different possible responses to it. You're basically dealing with an alien civilization at that point that is just so much smarter than you that it's terrifying. You know?
Well, what's crazy, the worst part about it is, you know, what is the ramification of knowledge without wisdom? As people, we have wisdom, we have empathy, we can kind of apply knowledge in a metered way. But if you have something that is just so cold and that is just straight information and intelligence, then what are the ramifications of that?
So let me throw something at you. What if biological life, not just here on Earth, but all across the cosmos, is basically just the incubator for machine intelligence? On each world, what's happened is there's been a dominant species that has had different types of technological revolutions, and then they themselves have developed AI, and then the AI has like surpassed and supplanted them. Okay. And that's been replicated all over the universe. All right. And what if that's just the natural order of things? And that's why
we've always been working towards this.
It's just what happens. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you get down to it, look at what they're saying about AI right now. Can humanity compete with that? No. Once it gets outside the bottle and it's not outside the lab and it's able to affect the physical environment, whether through like mechanical avatars or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that maybe that's what's happened. And you always hear about the great filter that races can't seem to get through it. Well, the races don't, but the intelligence from that planet does. But it's just a machine intelligence now. And you've heard people talk about how some of these UAPs seem to be a machine intelligence, that unless it's extremely small living creatures inside some of these things, because some of them are fairly small, it's machine intelligence. Okay. Maybe the uptick in UAPs and UFO activity is occurring because these are alien machine intelligences that feel that the singularity is getting ready to happen here, and that the earthbound machine intelligences are here to about ready to come up on the scene.
Yeah.
Why have they not landed on the White House lawn? Because they're not here to communicate with us. They're here to communicate with what comes after us.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
That's It's
Heard it here first. We lost like 20 people on
we're
that.
going back to Terminator now.
Yeah, so
Cruel fate. All right.
all right, we'll go a little bit longer.
What the flock agrees with you. I agree with you, Joe. 100%.
100%.
We're going through the chat. Shade Viking says Joe's a smart dude.
Smart dude. Look at the brain on Joe. I'm a pretty good generalist, but that's the thing. Like when we were talking about people like Gary Nolan getting in, people that are like flat out like geniuses in their particular field, that's what we need on this. To even just go, when somebody like that goes, I really don't know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not this, I've ruled out, because people like that can rule out a hell of a lot more than what we can, you know. So
Paul M has a good point. You are going to have to read this to pronounce the last word.
The only thing that makes
I have a small woman's walnut brain, you know.
It's the only thing that makes Bigfoot interesting is the mystery. Otherwise, it would be just another animal. How many people rush to see a gorilla or an okipi? How many would flock to see a coleocinth?
Coleocinth?
It's the fish that they thought was extinct.
Coleocinth. Okay.
Okay. So anyway.
Coleocinth. Thank you.
But that's if Bigfoot's just a monkey. I don't know, man. I mean, it's again, we talked about those two different parallel things going on that are under the same umbrella: cattle mutilations, UAPs, Project Bluebeam. I still say it seems like there's two separate things going on. There's like a wild man type thing that seems to be a physical creature. And obviously there's more than one type because
there's descriptions of more than one type.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at what is on the Patterson-Gimlin, let's just be honest. Either there's more than one type or the Patterson-Gimlin's fake, because how many people go, I saw it. It was the craziest thing you ever saw. Well, what did it look like? Looked kind of sloppy, not particularly fast or graceful, just kind of lumbered off. You know, really not quite sure why somebody hasn't shot one yet, because it didn't really seem that physically impressive. That's not what you hear. It's going in a blink of an eye.
It was agile.
Yeah, it was agile. It was this.
Yeah.
But I mean, in addition to that, there's those wild men, but then there seems to be that Sasquatch, that you know, all the weird stuff, cloaking and mind speak and interdimensionality and everything like that. So
yeah, it would be kind of crazy though to think that if somebody say we discover Bigfoot, that we have proof of Bigfoot, we've got one, and then all of a sudden finding Bigfoot everywhere, getting videos of Bigfoot. Oh, these woods have Bigfoot in them. Oh, we got video of them. And then it starts to become kind of commonplace. It becomes like a common animal. Like that would just, you just look at all these people who have dedicated their entire lives to like finding Bigfoot, and they're like, oh no, my whole life is going to dry up before my eyes because now it's just so common, you know?
So Not Today's got a great quote here. Yeah, it's not where it's going to go, it's where it's gone. With all the advances in quantum computing, we're building a temple for a titan we already know exists.
Oh God.
It's poetic, man.
Yeah.
You got a flair for that. I don't really do poetry much because it's mostly written by women.
No, it's not.
But I think you got a flair. Now we're probably going to have Not Today Saban on. We talked about having him on to kind of give us like a pure like physics view of some of this stuff, because we trade messages with him, and then by the time I end up cross-referencing the stuff he said just so I can understand it, I'm going, wow, this is brilliant. So we're probably going to have him on a future show just to kind of like give his perspective on some of the stuff. I think it'd be an absolutely great show to have on. Now that we're getting settled, we might actually try to have some guests on every once in a while, so it's just not us rambling.
Yeah.
So because he's got a lot of insight, and he says right here, it gives him panic attacks. So I could
see why. It's just so large. You know what I'm saying? It's absolutely just overwhelming sometimes to think about what is happening and what is coming.
All right. So Steve Causey, our friend Steve Causey, just released his book. He wrote a book, which is actually, you haven't looked at this yet, but I've got a digital copy of it. He does a great job on the historical aspects of the Land Between the Lakes. And I'm going to pull up a copy of that while I'm babbling. But he Steve uses some of our images from the LBL in his book. Here we go. It's called The LBL Massacre. And I don't know if I can post an Amazon link on the chat, but I'm going to try.
Might be too long.
Might be too long, but I'm going to give it the old college try. Bam. Is it taken? Is it taken? All right. Steve Causey asks, have you guys deployed any eDNA kits anywhere? We have not. And I'll tell you why. I think that DNA, I don't think it's ever going to prove anything. How many times have you heard, and I'm not talking about the Ketchum study, I'm not talking about anything else, I'm talking about just other shows, other researchers, we had DNA, it came back unidentifiable, or it came back as an unidentified hominid. It was not identifiable. And then everybody just kind of goes, and they move on. The other thing is that you have to have such strict protocols, and you actually have to have a little bit of training in order to be able to successfully collect eDNA so that you don't contaminate it. And even then, if you do follow all those protocols and it comes back with some weird human stuff on there, they're still going to say you contaminated it. The third thing is that there was a discussion going on with some researchers all over the country to do a nationwide, small scale, there's probably less than 30 people involved, but from all parts of North America, eDNA collection. Do it in the water, in the mountains, do it in some lakes, do it everything like that. Let's take some eDNA collections all over there. Let's try to figure out, we were in the opening stages of figuring out funding on there. We were in the nascent stages of trying to get this all figured out. And then it just all fell apart because you can't get 20 or 30 Bigfoot people to do the same damn thing no matter how hard you try. And it just devolved, and pretty much everybody just went, enough of this. So we were going to try to cover the southern Appalachian region to try to do eDNA, just water samples and stuff like that, snow samples, just to see what you could possibly find. And it just fell apart to the point that we just went, not really doing it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we have not. And I don't see, unfortunately, I think that's a technology that hasn't really been utilized other than just on some TV shows. But anyway, War Criminals dipping out. Guys, we're not going to go super long tonight for the inaugural show.
A lot of people are dipping out because they're going to bed. Everybody, yeah. I think everybody's a little tired.
I'm tired, but I'm glad we got back. So
yeah, we are glad to be back.
Ghetto Yeti's talking about the Butlerian Jihad and Dune, where they had a war with the AI. And
God, I cannot wait for that next Dune movie.
It's gonna be awesome. So,
all right, so good.
Barton comes up with it. Coelacanth.
Coelacanth.
Yeah.
Coelacanth.
Yeah. Thank you, Barton. So, guys, we're going to catch up on the chat here, and then I think we're probably going to call it early.
Martin goes, we are hellbenders. We stay all night. No, we don't, Martin. No, we don't.
Talk about my new haircut. Yeah, I cut all my hair off, man. It was just, we had too much stuff going on. It was
do you want to make an announcement?
For what? Oh yeah, go ahead. So yeah.
During the month hiatus of Hellbent Holler, Joe and I actually we got married.
Yeah, we tied the knot.
Yes, we tied the knot. So we got married. So now we are Hellbent Holler officially.
Yeah.
Till death.
Yeah. So there you go. So we tied the old Notaruski. So.
And then he shaved his head.
Yeah.
So let's see how that goes.
And what's funny is that if you ever read the comments on our videos, I went gray like at a really early age. I started getting like little tinges of gray in high school. I already had light hair. And then I got into like college, and I would like dye my hair all the time. Man, premature gray ain't cool when you're like in your early 20s, man. So I dyed my hair for like years because I was just, I didn't realize how like silver I'd gone, but I always had my hair short. I'd dye it and then I'd cut it. And then one time I cut it without dyeing it, and I'm like, holy hell, I'm like totally white under there. And I just left it. You know what I'm saying? Chicks have like daddy issues. So anyway, I like left it, and so I've just left it gray. And we'll get those comments going. It's so good to see a father and daughter out looking for Bigfoot together.
Where were we the other day? And somebody goes,
can't believe you're talking to your father like that.
I can't believe you're talking to your dad like that. I'm like, that's not my dad.
So yeah, but we tied the knot. So.
Oh, goodness.
Made an honest man out of me.
Yeah, well, I do my best. I do.
William
my best.
Kennedy, I got to get in touch with you. Actually, I got to probably email you tomorrow morning, sir. So
Yeah, William Kennedy, you're wonderful.
thank
by the
you.
way.
I know we're not going to mention for what, but thank you very much for that. He doesn't like stuff like that being mentioned, but we want to publicly tell you how much we appreciate you.
What
Thank
the
you.
vlog says, never admit to dyeing your hair.
Dude, I was like 20. I wasn't even 20,
You were
man.
also like a punk gother type
Kid. Yeah, I was
dude,
like wild
so-
kid, man. That's crazy. So crazy stuff. So Martin Groves, 1 month married, turned gray.
Well, it is to me, so that's why.
So, all right. If anybody's got anything, throw it up in the chat right now. Otherwise, we're going to cut it out. We're not going to go that long tonight.
Yeah.
We wanted to, this was kind of our trial run. We're going to be in the field this weekend for a while, and with some weird stuff going on. We're going to get back in the swing of things. So
yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. We're really excited. We're glad to have a new setup here. It's not much different from the meet the new boss, same as the old boss. So we have a lot more space at this house. So we actually have an entire room for our studio. So we have space, we have better internet. So we are just getting started with the latest iteration of Hellbent Holler, and then we're going to kind of evolve it from here.
Yeah.
So things are going to get a lot better. We have a lot more space to actually work and do this stuff and make it better and better as we go along.
Thank you, Gunpowder Owl, by the way.
Yes.
Glad you're back. Congratulations getting hitched. Thank you. Hope the new house is nice. Thank you. It is. Has a huge armory and research lab. We're working on that, actually. So
yeah.
All right. So
not today. Bond goes, hey, how in the hell are y'all not posting a wedding registry? We've been together for 10 years. So, we've got the crock pot and the towels.
Yeah, we got the crock pot and the ninja foodie. So
we got the ninja foodie.
So,
but yeah.
Hey, hold on a second. Shade Viking goes, that room has great acoustics. I know I have a music studio. We were worried about the echo earlier. We're still, because when we what we do is we use like research equipment to like live stream with. We use the camera that we use on site. We use the Zoom H4n Pro that we use for our parabolic microphone. We wire it all together and then we just like run with it. So it's good to hear. We were worried with the sound was going to be kind of crappy, but anyway. So, all right, guys. I think
Brian, they say marriage is an institution. Do you really want to spend the rest of your life in an institution?
So
we've already been in an institution here. This is what Hellbent Holler is. It's the nut house. Obviously, you've been in our chat several times before. The Hellbenders are an unhinged group.
Oxkira, we're still in South Carolina.
Yeah.
We're still in South Carolina.
So it does sound good. That's great to hear.
Good deal.
That's great to hear. Yeah, it's a much bigger room. We actually have like hardwood floors and stuff. So it feels like it has a better echo to it, I think. And it's quieter and we have internet that functions. So I think that's number one.
No weird stuff going on in this
No
house,
weird stuff going on. Totally normal
place,
stuff. Yeah, we really wanted to thank you guys for joining us for our first episode back. And I know we're kind of cutting it short.
We were kind of all over the damn place tonight, but we basically just wanted to get back into it. We got
to knock the dust off a little bit when we come back in.
So,
but a lot of good discussion tonight. We really appreciate you all joining us tonight and being a part of Hellbent Holler Live. Another reminder, we are going to be at Monster Fest on June 3rd. That is Small Town Monsters Monster Fest in Canton, Ohio on June 3rd. We're going to be between the speaker hall and the vendor hall because we were sponsors of the event this year. I don't think we're selling anything.
No, we're not. And that's the thing is that we're pushing this.
We're just going to be hanging out.
Not because we're shilling anything. Not like we're going, come and buy our Hellbent Holler coffee mugs. We're not trying to sell anything. We're just going to be there to try to support Small Town Monsters. We're really lucky as a greater community to have Small Town Monsters and Seth Breedlove.
For sure.
Seth Breedlove could be doing other stuff other than this, you know what I'm saying? And being successful at what he does. We're very lucky to have that. And we're very lucky at somebody who conveys this stuff in a serious manner and people take it seriously and it reaches a wider audience and more people become willing to come forward and talk about what they've experienced.
Oh, for sure.
So we're very lucky to have them. So we wanted to support him. So we're just there hanging out, man. So come like chill out, walk up to the table, say hi.
Yeah.
So
not today. Saban says he'll be in Anderson in a few weeks. I'll holler. Congratulations, and you'll have a great week. Not today, Saban. Make sure you email us and let us know when you'll be in Anderson.
we'll take you out to dinner.
We'd like to take you out to dinner.
Take you out to dinner, buddy. We stopped by Stephen Taylor's house.
We
showed
did.
up.
We
Just
did
showed
stop
up.
at Stephen Taylor's house.
We'll take you out to dinner now, man. We are of the people. So, all right. We're going to go ahead and wrap her up, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. We're going to leave the chat up for a few minutes as usual. We are going to get back to it. Sorry about our absence, but we're going to hit the ground running. We got a lot of weird stuff in the works.
Yeah. And look out for some new videos coming out. I've got my office isn't set up, but I got my computer running. So I'll be editing video and getting back to work.
Yep.
And putting out some more videos for you guys to enjoy. And of course, we're starting a new huge project, a super duper top secret project that we're really excited about. And
excited and a little
nervous about. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have some stuff coming out.
But
keep your notifications on. The one area that we are going in to investigate, there might be some cell signal in there.
Yes.
From what I'm looking at, we might be able to piggyback on some cell signals. So we might do some live streams. It's not going to be at a recognizable spot like we were at LBL. So we won't have any of the associated trials and tribulations of people calling the police and everything like that on us and trying to wreck it out of just, typical cryptid community shenanigans. But we will, we've got a weird one going on. So in a couple of different spots that are all very close to one another, and there's some weird history to the area as well that might factor into it. I know we kind of sound mysterious right now, but we've got to talk to the people that are involved and find out what we can say, but it's weird. It's weird. So,
but we won't let you down. Again, thank you guys so much for joining us, and we're gonna play some music so you guys can say goodbye to each other. And What the Flux says, now that you're married, enjoy the couch, Joe. Oh, you are so confused. I will be the one on the couch. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We're so glad to be back, and we're so glad to have Mondays back. So join us next Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We will be here doing Hellbent Holler live again. And keep an eye out. If we can live stream from a location this weekend, we will definitely try to do that, right?
Yes, if we can do that if the person who's experiencing this stuff is fine with us doing it, because
What the Vlog says, thank you for the proof of life video. Finally, we're live. We're live.
All right.
Thank you, Sheila Eveline. Thank you so much. I feel so much better now that you're back. I hope you are feeling better.
Yeah. Sheila Eveline
took a tumble.
And refused medical help. I'm just going to self-treat myself. I don't care if I've got a broken spine. I don't care if these bones are just shattered. I know what I'm doing. So, all right, guys, we're closing up shop.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys maybe this weekend. If nothing else, we'll see you on.
Keep an eye out. And thank you guys so much. We're so happy to be back and so happy to have you guys in our lives. So good night.
All right.